What if some of your strongest opinions were never really yours? What if they were handed to you by your family, your environment, your religion, your political side, the people you follow online, or simply by information you heard repeated over and over again? And what if thinking for yourself does not mean rejecting everything you were taught? What if it simply means being willing to examine it? Today, we're talking about how to think for yourself in a world where everyone seems determined to do the thinking for you. Welcome to the Welz Project. I'm Welz, and this is Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot episode. Before we get into today's topic, let me briefly introduce myself and explain why I created this channel. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of my life observing, researching, questioning, building businesses, learning through experience, and looking at subjects from angles that are often overlooked. I'm not here because I believe I have every answer. I'm here to share what I've learned, what I've personally experienced, what I've researched, and the conclusions I've reached so far. Then you can examine it, question it, compare it with other perspectives, and decide what makes sense to you. The Welz Project is built around truth, growth, resources, and real talk. We'll discuss mindset, spirituality, wellness, business, survival, preparedness, self-reliance, personal growth, and the lessons that real life teaches us. But I need to make something clear from the beginning. I'm not creating this channel to tell you what you are required to believe. I'm creating it to encourage you to ask better questions, examine information from more than one angle, and form your own conclusions. You may agree with me. You may disagree with me. You may agree with a part of what I'm saying and reject the other part. That's completely fine. The only thing I ask is that we challenge ideas without attacking people. This is a space for people who already have perspective and for those who are open to seeing life through a new lens. So with that being said, let's begin with the question at the center of today's episode. Are you ready? Are your opinions really yours? I chose independent thinking as the first subject because it will serve as the foundation for nearly everything we discuss on the Welz Project. How can we talk honestly about wellness if we're afraid to question health information? How can we discuss business if we believe there's only one acceptable way to earn a living? How can we explore spirituality if honest questions are treated like disrespect? How can we improve ourselves if we are never examined the beliefs influencing our decisions and behaviors? And how can we search for truth if we have never examined the process we use to decide what is true? Before we begin exploring different ideas, claims, experiences, and perspectives, we first have to examine how to process the information. We have to understand why we believe what we believe. Most people inherit their first set of beliefs. That's normal. When we're young, we absorb information from our parents, teachers, family members, religious leaders, television, friends, and the culture around us. We are taught what is acceptable. We are taught what is dangerous. We are taught who to trust. We are taught what success is supposed to look like. We are taught what to believe about money, health, relationships, spirituality, work, politics, and life. The problem is not that we learn from other people. We are supposed to learn from other people. None of us begins life already knowing everything. The problem begins when we never return to examine what we accepted. Sometimes we defend an opinion because it is true. Other times we defend it because changing our mind would threaten our identity, our relationships, or our sense of belonging. There's a major difference between saying, I believe this is because I examined it, and saying, I believe this is because everyone around me believes it. Those two paths may occasionally lead to the same conclusion, but they are not the same process. One conclusion was examined. The other was inherited. And an inherited belief is not automatically wrong, but it should still be understood. You should know where it came from. You should know why you hold it. You should know what evidence supports it. And you should know whether you would still believe it if the people around you believe something different. Independent thinking is often misunderstood. Thinking for yourself does not mean automatically distrusting every expert. It does not mean believing the opposite of whatever is popular. It does not mean assuming every institution is lying, every study is false, or every unusual claim is secretly true. It does not mean that every unpopular opinion is intelligent simply because it is unpopular. That is not independent thinking. That is replacing one automatic reaction with another. A person who automatically agrees with everything could be controlled through agreement. But a person who automatically rejects everything can be controlled through opposition. In both cases, someone else is still determining the reaction. Real independent thinking requires more discipline than either one. It means being willing to say, I don't know yet. I need more information. I may be wrong. This source makes a strong point, but I still have questions. I understand why someone believes this, but I've reached a different conclusion. Or, I used to believe something different, but the evidence changed my mind. Those statements do not make you weak. They do not make you confused. They show that you are thinking. There's a strength in having a clear position. But there is also strength in admitting when you have not gathered enough information to form one. You do not need an immediate opinion about everything. Sometimes the most honest answer is, I'm still looking into it. There are several reasons people adopt opinions without fully examining them. The first is convenience. Thinking deeply takes time. Research takes time. Reading beyond a headline takes time. Listening to opposing perspectives takes time. Repeating something familiar is easier. The second reason is belonging. Human beings want connection. People don't want to lose friends, family, approval, status, or membership in a group. Sometimes people remain silent because they're afraid of being misunderstood. Sometimes they pretend to agree because they're afraid of being rejected. And sometimes they defend an idea they have doubts about because the idea has become tied to their community. The third reason is emotion. Fear, anger, hope, embarrassment, outrage, and excitement can cause us to accept information before we properly evaluate it. When information makes us feel something strongly, we are more likely to react before we investigate. That does not mean emotional information is automatically false. It means emotion can make us stop asking questions. The fourth reason is authority. A title, uniform, degree, large platform, professional looking presentation, or a confident voice can make a person appear correct before the claim has been examined. Expertise matters. Experience matters. Credentials can matter. But none of those things make a claim permanently immune from reasonable questions. The fifth reason is repetition. When we hear something often enough, it can begin to feel true simply because it is familiar. A repeated statement can become part of the background of our lives. Eventually, we may forget that we never actually investigated it. That does not mean every familiar belief is false. It means familiarity alone is not proof. The sixth reason is identity. Sometimes an opinion becomes more than an opinion. It becomes part of how we define ourselves. Once that happens, questioning the belief can feel like questioning the person. Evidence may be interpreted as an attack. A conversation may be treated like a battle. And changing your mind may feel like betraying who you are. But growth sometimes requires us to separate our identity from our own conclusions. You are allowed to update what you believe. You are allowed to admit that you learned something new. You are allowed to outgrow an old perspective. Changing your mind after receiving better information is not weakness. Refusing to consider better information because of pride can be. Now, here are 5 questions I want us to begin using throughout the Welz Project. These questions do not guarantee that we will always reach the correct conclusion, but they can help us slow down, think more clearly, and avoid being controlled by our first emotional reaction. Question 1. What exactly is being claimed? Remove the emotional language, remove the dramatic headline, remove the insults, fear, exaggeration, and presentation. What is the actual claim being made? Can you explain it in 1 or 2 clear sentences? You cannot evaluate something clearly until you can state it clearly. Sometimes an argument sounds powerful because it is surrounded by dramatic language. Once that language is removed, the actual claim may be much weaker than it first appeared. Other times, the claim may be stronger than the presentation surrounding it. Clarity comes first. Question 2. Where did the information come from? Is it first-hand information? A scientific study? A news report? A personal story? A government document? A company statement? Or just an anonymous post? A short video clip removed from a larger conversation? Someone repeating what they heard from someone else? We all know how that goes. Every source can potentially provide useful information, but different sources require different levels of caution. A personal experience can be meaningful, but it may not prove that everyone will have the same experience. A study can be valuable, but you should still consider how it was designed, who participated, how large the sample was, who funded it, and whether the findings have been repeated. A news report can provide information, but it may still leave out context. A viral post may raise an important question, but popularity does not verify accuracy. Always ask where the information began. Question 3. What evidence supports the claim? Not how confident the person sounds, not how emotional the presentation is, not how many followers they have, not how many people already agree. What evidence supports what they're saying? Is the evidence direct? Is it current? Is it relevant? Can it be checked? And is there credible information that challenges it? Independent thinking does not mean searching only for sources that confirm what you already believe. It means being willing to examine the strongest evidence on more than one side. You may still reach the same conclusion afterward, but at least it will be a conclusion you examine honestly. Question 4. What am I feeling? Am I accepting this because it is well supported? Or because it makes me angry, afraid, excited, superior, validated, or accepted? Am I rejecting it because the evidence is weak? Or because I dislike the person saying it? Am I defending this belief because it makes sense? Or because admitting I was wrong would embarrass me? Emotion does not automatically make a belief wrong. We are human beings. Emotion is part of how we experience the world. But emotion can stop us from asking questions. Recognizing your emotional reaction does not mean ignoring it. It means understanding how it may be influencing your judgment. Question 5. What would change my mind? This may be the most important question. What evidence would cause you to reconsider your position? What information would make you pause? What would you need to see before admitting that your current conclusion may be incomplete? If the honest answer is nothing, then you are not investigating a belief. You are protecting it. A belief that cannot be questioned can become a cage. Having conviction is not the problem. The problem is reaching a point where no evidence, no experience, no contradiction, and no amount of new information could ever cause reflection. You should know what supports your belief, and you should know what could challenge it. There's another side to independent thinking that people sometimes miss. Thinking for yourself does not mean refusing to learn from anybody else. You can think independently and still respect experience. You can question a professional while understanding that they may know more than you in their area. You can trust someone while still verifying important information. You can have strong beliefs and remain teachable. You can disagree without assuming the other person is stupid, evil, or completely without value. You can listen to someone without surrendering your judgment. You can learn from a person without agreeing with everything they believe. And you can reject one argument without rejecting the entire person. I don't want anybody watching this channel to replace one authority with another. Do not blindly follow me either. Listen. Consider what I'm saying. Check the information. Compare it with other perspectives. Think about how it applies to your own life. Ask whether the reasoning makes sense. Then reach your own conclusion. That is the type of community I want us to build. Not an echo chamber. Not a place where everyone is forced to agree. But a place where people can listen, think, question, and contribute respectfully. People from different religions, spiritual paths, political positions, backgrounds, abilities, cultures, and life experiences may eventually find this channel. That means disagreements will happen. Disagreement is not the problem. Disrespect is the problem. You are allowed to challenge something I say. You are allowed to challenge another viewer's argument. You are allowed to say that you interpret the information differently. You're allowed to explain why your experiences led you to another conclusion. But hate, racial slurs, derogatory behavior, threats, bullying, harassment, personal attacks, and attempts to dehumanize someone will not be accepted here. Mocking people because of their religion, spirituality, disability, background, race, trauma, health condition, or personal identity will not be accepted here. Freedom of speech does not require me to provide a platform for abuse on this channel. Challenge the idea. Explain your reasoning. Provide your evidence. Ask questions. Offer another perspective. But respect the person. You do not have to agree with everyone in order to treat them like a human being. And no one has to change who they are or even pretend to agree with everything I say in order to participate here. The standard is simple. Challenge ideas, not people. Here's your challenge after this episode. Choose one opinion that you strongly hold. It can involve health, money, spirituality, relationships, politics, work, business, family, success, or life. Then just ask yourself, where did I first learn this? Who influenced this belief? What evidence supports it? Have I honestly considered another perspective? Am I defending it because it is true or because it is connected to my identity? Would I still believe it if the people around me disagreed? And what information could cause me to reconsider it? You do not have to abandon the belief. You may investigate it and become even more confident in it. You may discover that your reasoning is stronger than you realized. You may also discover that part of what you believe needs to be updated. The goal is not to doubt everything. The goal is not to become suspicious of everyone. The goal is to understand why you believe what you believe. Because when you understand the foundation of your beliefs, you become more difficult to manipulate. You become more comfortable admitting what you do not know. You become more willing to learn. And you become more capable of forming conclusions that are genuinely your own. This is only the beginning of the Welz Project. We're going to examine truth, mindset, spirituality, wellness, business, survival, preparedness, self-reliance, personal growth, and real-life experience. Some conversations will be comfortable and some will be uncomfortable. Others may challenge us. Some topics may confirm what you already believe. Others may encourage you to look at something from a completely different angle. I am not here to please everyone. I am not asking everyone to agree with me. I am here to share what I've learned, what I have experienced, what I have researched, and how I currently see the world. Then I want you to think about it for yourself. How about this? In the comments, answer this question. What is one belief or opinion you changed after looking at it more deeply? Explain what you used to believe, what caused you to question it, and what you believe now. Please keep the conversation respectful. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know when the next episode drops. You can also participate through the post tab where I share questions, updates, polls connected to future episodes. I'm Welz. This is the Welz Project. Think deeper, live better. Truth, growth, resources, real talk. Peace and love.